Good morning to all of you. Extending to what we just had a morning session, inaugural session, and all you are bombarded with what the supply chain complexity Rajesh talked about, and Dr. Ganesh has reinforced how the supply chain is going to be a complex. So let me take you through after post-COVID session, post-COVID days. Really, the disruption has happened in a supply chain, and we have personally seen how the business got collapsed and where they were not ready with the resilient supply chain. And I would say that there are many companies has come out with a really very disruptive innovation and in the supply chain, and they could withstand all that blow. And today, really, they are prospering and they really seen a big growth. And that's why the supply chain, I heard that is not like somebody said that it's not only a function, it's a core part of your business. And that's what very important, and what today we are going to talk on that. Uh, I'm sure many sector has disrupted, and this automotive sector has its own challenges, own complexity, and I'm sure there are challenges like sustainability compliance, uncertainty in the demand of EV market, where Dr. Ganesh talked about, and then inventories piling up, or other than the overall inventory stack ups, etc. So all the CEO of the businesses are worked on their innovation and data insighting, and they will be coming out with their own strategy. And definitely one of them will be innovation, which we'll be talking about. So today's session I'll be chairing. My name is Vinay Khanolkar, for which some of people who don't know me. So I'm from Mahindra & Mahindra. I'm a Chief Manufacturing Officer. I look after manufacturing, supply chain, employee relation, HR and accounts, and sustainability. And we have a rich, eminent speaker and panelist here with me, and they are going to tell about how their businesses are taking care of their such a complexity in the supply chain, and addressing this, the growth in their own businesses, and the supply chain is becoming enabler for them. So I will request my colleagues to introduce with them in a brief. So can you, Narayan, can you start with that?
Yeah, hi. My name is R.K. Narayan. I'm President, Strategy and Business Development at Horizon Industrial Park. Horizon is one of the supporter of this particular event. We have logistics and industrial parks across the country. I mean, you can see the data on one of the standees there, 37 parks, about 52 million square feet across several cities, tier 1 and tier 2. Basically, we are providers of warehousing spaces and industrial spaces, catering to the needs of multiple sectors, including the automotive sector, which is one of the dominant user of our spaces.
Thanks. Good morning, rather I would say good afternoon almost. My name is Aditya Shah. I represent VTrans India Limited. We are one of the oldest transport and logistics player in India, a family-run business. I particularly look at the V Express vertical as a CEO. So we have 70 years of experience when it comes to handling different industry and solving a lot of on-ground logistics challenge, especially in the part load and the full truckload segment. And now, as we stand today, we have emerged as an integrated player encompassing 3PL, e-com, warehousing, FTL, PTL as a player. So I'm happy to share the dais with eminent speakers, and looking forward to a great session.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Vivek. Hello, everyone. And I first of all thank CII for arranging this insightful seminar. I represent Bridgestone India Private Limited, and I lead the strategic supply planning as well as digitalization practices. Uh, Having more than 25 years of experience in different verticals in supply chain, I also happen to lead the operations for almost 15 years for warehousing and distribution. So many faces we are meeting after a long time. So thank you. And as Vinay sir has mentioned, post-COVID, everybody has reinvented the business models, and that is true to a larger extent. Nowadays, when we refer to past, we do not refer to the remote past. It is just 3-4 years back what we did. It helped us to see the business as a whole and see the business in different fragments, that is, if the disruption is taking place, where it is going to affect the most. And happy to be a part of this panel. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. Hello, I am Bikram Garg. I am Vice President Supply Chain, Maruti Suzuki India Limited, based out in Gurgaon. First of all, I would like to thank CII for inviting us as a panel speaker here in front of, I think, 100 plus delegates, plus 6 eminent speakers, and Mr. Vinay as a moderator. So I think it's a great privilege to be a part of such a gathering. I'm responsible, I have an experience of around 26 years. I'm responsible for all under the bonnet components, sourcing, development, procurement, and including exhaust, thermal systems, everything, two-wheeler, four-wheeler put together. So today, through this panel discussion, I think we would like to share some of the examples as well, how Maruti Suzuki supply chain has been, putting in efforts to bring this whole ecosystem into charge and taking India, way forward. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kuldeep Singh, and I'm from a company called Kinetic Green. We are purely into EV space. So we manufacture two-wheeler, three-wheeler. We also have a golf cart. We'll be launching it soon. And my major responsibility is to solve simple problems. So a problem like one of the institution, ARI, told us on 3rd of March, from 1st of May, you have to be, one have to use the local BMS only if you need subsidy. So in 58 days, we have to solve a local BMS partner, get the battery tested and homologated. After that, get the vehicle homologated with that battery. And then they will come and inspect our plant and the battery manufacturer plant. All these things should happen in 58 days if you need subsidy from 1st of May. So fortunately, we are able to solve a lot of similar simple problems in the sourcing and supply chain domain. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. And I am Jayant Athode from DP World. First of all, thank you, CII, for organizing this event. And thanks to all the panelists who are here. I am sure that we are going to get a lot of good inputs today. So I am Jayant Athode. I am the Senior Director, Automotive Sector in DP World. I am working in DP World for more than 2.5 years now. But before DP World, I was part of Tata Motors International business for more than 26 years. I spent good part of my life in Tata Motors, handling various roles, including sales and marketing. And last 7 to 8 years, I was in logistics, exactly the time when COVID happened, with a lot of learning. So the best way to understand logistics was during COVID. And that is what I think all of us will appreciate, how we face the problems. But certainly the landscape has changed now. So while COVID now is receding as a past, I feel that the geopolitics is taking over as a new problem. So the supply chains have to now enhance themselves. So DP World as an organization, I hope most of you would be knowing, it's a Dubai-based MNC. We are a little bit, establishing our roots into India, but we have a lot of assets to give integrated solutions. So as an auto sector, we develop integrated solutions as per the requirements and as well as the customized solutions for the customers. So as we go along during the session, if there are any questions, any clarifications, any inputs, then we'll be glad to have that. Thank you again.
But so if you see that this dais has about 175 years of experience. So this session is going to be very interesting and exciting for all of you, and there will be a lot of, I promise you, will be a lot of takeaway for all of you. So be ready for that. So let's go on to a topic, like we have a topic today for innovation, and let me get back to that Dr. Ganesh talked about in the morning on Tesla has innovated a complete manufacturing process, the conventional way into a completely new method. They challenge the conventional way, their CXO or they challenge conventional way, and they come out with the innovative way of doing business. And that's why, if that is the way, then your supply chain has to be, or innovate. It has to innovate and has to make a transformation. So my the first topic which will, first points for discussion is that all of you know that consumer behavioral or consumer taste is changing drastically. Is expecting everything new every day. He wants the flexibility, and that's make a challenge on our supply chain as well as in the business, and that affects our efficiency in the overall end-to-end supply chain. And here we want to know that how these business leaders and the people are looking into this, improving the efficiency, keeping a close tab on the cost. So why don't you, Bikram, take this forward? So over to you, Bikram.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vinay. Okay, so I think as you are well aware, Maruti Suzuki currently commanding around 40% of market share in Indian automotive industry. So customer for us is always at the forefront. So through various marketing and sales channels and through our dealerships, we keep on having a very close tab on customer voice, that what a customer wants. If we are providing new vehicles in the market, what is still, there is a gap between customer expectation and our features. So as you know, I think 20 years back, social media was not so active and the customer was also not so demanding. But now I would say, there is no gap between what is available in the West, what is available in US, America, Europe, Japan markets. All customers want immediately all the features here in India. Okay. So they need features at Indian price, but quality of Japan, right? So that's also, what we internally also discuss within Maruti Suzuki, how we can build features, new features into the cars at a competitive price which Indian consumers can purchase. So since the gap is marginally zero, what features we are providing in the cars and what the customer expect. So we have to have a very close ear to all the customers. So that's how, we are working on what all new features we need to bring into the market. So based on that, we are working on advanced technologies. So we have partnered with various technology suppliers like Bosch or Denso or Continental, and even to the extent of chip makers we are partnering with. Because the semiconductor crisis which has been there in across world, so that's how it has erupted whole supply chains throughout the world. So partnership is a big thing which we at Maruti Suzuki is going ahead in a big way, so that we can secure supply chains and we can provide better features to the consumers. Second thing I think I would like to mention here is the lead time for providing the parts to the customers, whether it is on the OE means on the new cars, or it is aftermarket. Because for us, if we have sold 40% cars we are selling every year to the Indian market, it is our responsibility that the customers who are having Maruti cars, they should not be striving for parts in the aftermarket. In case there is any problem in the part, they should not wait for the part. So for that, we are utilizing digitalization in a big way for managing our spare parts and for ensuring, seamless supply chains for all the parts, even after warranty and within warranty, to all the customers throughout.
Thanks, Bikram. I think very good insight in that. Customer wants free with new feature. That's what I learned today from you. And exploiting the partner strength. Very good insight in. So, Kuldeep, you are in a kinetic green, a completely new field, and you're exploiting in the market. How do you think that this customer, the changing needs, you are addressing with all your expertise? Over to you.
So I'll start again from the customer side. The point here is कि Indian customer, same, I agree with Bikram San said कि Indian customer need Indian prices and Japanese quality. Typically, similarly, all Indian customer need the top end features and entry segment prices. That is the reason you will find gradually almost all EV companies, I'm talking about two-wheeler first, are removing all unnecessary features. People started 4 kilowatt batteries. I'm typically talking about the company, they were largest 6 months ago. So they started with touchscreen scooter with good speakers, microphone, and the 4 kilowatt batteries, and all possible features you can think of in a scooter, very good styling. And today, unfortunately, at that price, they are not able to sell only because of price. So customer is very much demanding, and because of multiple reasons, the OEMs are forced to reduce all those features in the vehicle. So today, if you see, almost all scooters are moving from the mid-mount motor to a typical hub motor. So for a smaller motor, smaller batteries. So one is customer. The second one is the government. So government is reducing subsidy like anything. So last year, same time, a typical two-wheeler was having 20,000 rupees per two-wheeler subsidy. Today, as we speak, the subsidy is 10,000 rupees, exactly 50%. And in next 25 days, from 1st of April, subsidy will be 5,000 rupees. So from 20,000 to 5,000, the 15,000 rupees gap, I'm sure Indian customer is not ready to pay. So what will happen? Either the market will be having lesser volumes, one. The second, obviously the dealer is not going to absorb even a single penny. So the OEM or the supply chain partner has to innovate the process, the technology, and I'll tell you the examples also. So to bridge that gap, because customer expectation is still same. If I ask you how much would you like to pay for a typical scooter, irrespective of this is ICE or EV, the answer will be less than 1 lakh. If you are going more than 1 lakh, then you need all top-end level of specifications, and obviously the 5 years warranty, all those stuff. So, and there are innovations in the field. You will find today almost all OEMs have migrated from NMC cell chemistry to LFP cell chemistry. Though there are disadvantages in terms of weight, but the price is almost 70%. So there are innovations, and these innovations are purely is the collaboration of supply chain partner and the OEM. So customer is still there. 3 years ago, they were expecting the same price, 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees for a scooter. Today also they want to pay 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees for a scooter. But the subsidies, the incentives, now you will also find a lot of people got PLI and started subsidizing their automotive vehicles, are defaulting in PLIs also. Thank you.
Thanks, Kuldeep. So let's move to the left hand to a right hand drive. So why don't you, Vivek, give a shot at that? What is that you think that at Bridgestone and Bridgestone as Bridgestone company is doing and addressing these customer needs, inefficiency in the supply chain, how you are overcoming that?
Yeah. So the composition of panel is interesting for me. On one side, we have got our principals, and the other side, we have got the support functions. rather interesting but difficult because the customer, for us, if we segregate our customers into two categories, the OEMs and the aftermarkets, they both have different characteristics. When it comes to OEM, it is more of a purpose-driven development where the development is primarily we have to complement the vehicle. But when it comes to the aftermarket, it is more of a aspiration driven with the emergence of SUVs and compact SUVs and high inch tires basically. So the people are got a taste of appearance, how it matches with the car, the sports cars, and also the development needs to be in that direction for both the markets. So we have got different products as a segment. And yes, it subsequently from supply chain perspective, the forecasting, the demand forecasting, it becomes very tricky because the kind of demand which will come after say 3 years or 2 years of time, it is difficult to predict. And then as a supply chain planning, which I'm a part of, it becomes a bit difficult.
So it was really supply chain planning is a complex. So it's good. Thanks, Vivek. And let's move to Aditya. I just want to talk about your right logistic partner for enabling this automotive supply chain to have a higher efficiency and use of technology for improving this. So Aditya, why don't you tell us about how you are driving at your end?
Right. So it's been a interesting panel, as rightly said by Vivek, that it's an interconnected team that we are looking at, and a very critical part of this entire supply chain is the logistics and the logistics partner. Typical example, if I could quote that, we run a fleet of trucks, so we are a buyer when it comes to a lot of the products which are manufactured by panel members over here. And we also help in terms of bringing these spare parts and the OEM assembly line when it comes to being a partner inbound into your logistics. And once you have a dealer who requires a spare part, it's again a transport player who comes into play. So this the transport logistics mirrors any industry which is developing. So whether it is an auto or FMCG. Ultimately, the objective of any player or any industry which works in support is to mirror what the actual requirement is of the manufacturers and their customers. So ultimately, it is the need of the buyers on ground is what OEMs are trying to fix, and to that tune, we need to replicate what kind of innovations or networks we are creating to be able to make a success for your product to ultimately sell. In the last 70 years, I would say we have seen a lot of, disruptions within the transport and logistics sector. And, as a lot of forums, transports, typically the surface or the road transport is seen as a more unorganized segment with a lot of small players, spread across and having a very lane-specific, product-specific, industry-specific exposure. But given how the times have evolved, I think the models have developed in such where people are looking for more integrated solutions. People are not looking at piecemeal kind of solutions, because it is ultimately leading to inefficiencies when it comes to managing wide range of vendors and not being able to get a single thought process run, whether it is inbound logistics or outbound or storage or 3PL. So we are seeing the emergence of a lot of players and ecosystems which are able to replicate what the requirements are when it comes to changing times. With now the EVs and hybrids and maybe at some point of time, hydrogen-driven vehicles also coming in, which I'm sure is within the pipeline of all the OEMs. Again, there will be changes in terms of how the supply chain needs to behave maybe the procurements would change, the geographies would change from where it comes in. So important is how the logistics segment, including players like us, are able to forecast that and create our own strategies. So just to give a very quick update that as the EV ecosystem is developing, there are again a new set of players who have emerged, whether in terms of manufacturing or providing the spare parts or the components. So are we available in the right pocket at the right time? Are we able to meet the TAT and give visibility to both ends such that the new product entry is a success? Is where we are putting our focus. Lot of digital innovation has come into segments, and we are proud to be one of the leaders when it comes to adapting new technologies. So things like demand planning, supply planning used to be something which manufacturing used to revolve around, but transport logistics used to work slightly in silos and be more I would say reactive. But I think now the kind of technologies players like us, or a lot of other developed players have also started, is to forecast your customers demand and supply chains, and to that tune be ready with the infra, be ready with solutions which maybe cut out of a normal traditional hub and spoke model and work in terms of mesh solutions to deliver at the time. Last part of it, I think sustainability is something which has been talked about in terms of how this industry helps cut down carbon emissions and footprint. Early days, I would say in terms of logistics, there has been some progress made when it comes to the first mile, last mile, typically smaller LCV segments where solutions have come in, but we all are eagerly waiting to see how the HCVs or the larger truck size segments emerge and the ecosystem of the country emerges for us to be able to benefit of it and pass on the benefits to the utility users who are on the other end. But nonetheless, I think the industry is progressing. We are proud to be part of this kind of an industry which is moving as fast as possible when it comes to be a real partner in terms of making success for the OEMs. Thank
Good,
you.
Aditya. So let me ask you one question, because this is really hurting me because for me in my organization, and my supply chain head is also sitting here, he's always tell me that the increase in the inventory at my end is because the material used to come in 2 hours, takes 4 hours now. And I need 4 hours now. And his has an impact on my business. So what do you have to can you guide him now to bring back to 2 hours?
Definitely, and I think this is a typical problem where I think it's a matter of predictability and transparency, which a lot of times in the past has been a missing segment when it comes to logistics. But now I think times have come where your inventory issue is sort of our inventory issue. Your supply chain, if it is choked, then if we are the bottleneck, then it's something that we need to do. I think it's as simple, what kind of technology, what kind of planning, and what kind of discussions are we having jointly along with our, extended arms to be able to give them the forecast and tell them what the real problems are. And I'm sure with the kind of technologies that are available, proper demand forecasting can really help in reducing. Not that there is going to be perfect solutions. There is never going to be 100%. But if there is a lot of discussion, transparency, data moving seamlessly between the two organizations, then definitely inventory can be cut down. And I think there are solutions.
So Aditya, you're telling me that tomorrow I can tell them that to go back to 2 days, 2 hours.
Of course.
Surely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's come back to Narayan. Narayan, I think your business is something which is, when I was talking to you yesterday, really excited me to know what is really, it's a different kind of and really innovative solutions. How can we customize, how are you in a business doing customer requirements, customizing the customer requirements? Can you just update us on that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So As it said, we are basically space providers in the logistics and industrial space. The one, how we are helping is, as many of the OEMs or the suppliers or even the logistic partners are looking to concentrate and focus, put their capital to a better use in their core business. So increasingly we see that, in the approach towards being asset light, institutional players like us have come forward, and Horizon is there in a big way to provide that asset for you wherever you go, right? So that the core capital can be put more efficiently. We provide solutions in terms of both plug and play, so ready space available, where you can, if you have a short time to, put in your product or whatever, or supply, the products to your end customers. We are there to offer the plug and play solutions, as well as if it's a long-term asset for you, also provide build to suit. So we cater to several of the suppliers, which the OEMs have, or even to the supplier to the suppliers. So in terms of build to suit, very specific requirements that you would have, be it in terms of, let's say, you need a different load capacity, you need different, equipment lifting items, or you need different kind of a power. So everything from an infrastructure perspective that we would provide, and the benefit of that is that it's an integrated park. So it's not just the space we give, but also the common facilities which goes, which one can provide only if one has a 100-acre, 200-acre park. Where there are multiple tenants also existing. So the benefit of such common infrastructure is also available to you. So we have a very huge engineering team, development team, which can, which actually engages into deep discussions with the customer as to what their build-to-suit requirements are. And we are proud to say that we have been able to address such requirements within the automotive sector also for many such manufacturers who otherwise were owning the properties, and now actually through us are engaging into discussion with us, for us to provide them these solutions.
Yes, Shankar. So, like you are investing on a fixed asset and intangible assets, and tangible is done by the OEM or
yes,
something
the
like
plant
that.
and machinery is by the
Correct.
end customer. We provide, we have land, we have building, we provide all the utilities, the infrastructure needed, and typically located at places where it's easier for your employees to come in.
It's a lease model? It's a leasing model?
It's a leasing model.
And generally, what kind of lease you provide?
The lease, because we are permanent asset owners, we don't sell individual assets. So, the lease, whether you need it for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years,
Okay.
Whatever longer period that you need, that's purely dependent on the arrangement, the type of asset. The more built to suit, the more specific requirements are, typically the longer the lease tenures are.
Very good. So it's a light asset for any business. Somebody is really, you want to use their capital reallocation, can be a good model to look at it.
Right, and
Thanks.
typically what happens is, for example, let's take, Maruti's own example, or wherever a large manufacturing unit is being set up, Karkoda, Sanand, Gujarat, many other places, you typically, government allots that land as an industrial development zone, and then it also dedicates little bit of space for the suppliers to the OEMs to come. But then even those suppliers have further suppliers, and there are more suppliers, which is where we come in and provide that infrastructure, either taking the land from the Industrial Development Corporation, which we've done in multiple places, or we source private lands around it so that your suppliers can also be taken care of.
Good. So let's change the gear. So when Rajesh Bhatia was talking in the morning, and I'm really like that sentence, he said that the supply chain should not be considered as a cost center. It should be an enabler to a business. All right? You heard about it. How do you agree about that? How many people agreed it should be or not should be considered a cost center? I think, but it is a cost center and there is a high cost. So to this control cost, so Jayant, I would like to take you to this and talked about how do we reduce this, given the pressure on automotive manufacturer, most of them are connected to automotive manufacturing, to reduce this cost and how DP World is helping them to optimize this logistic cost, networks cost, and all our transportation expenses. And it's a very, very vital subject, and everybody in a business can, when we make this cost is being considered as one of the important criteria to have a business case.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just, regarding the cost, I'll just give you an example. When I was in Tata Motors as supply chain head, my first KPI was logistic cost reduction. So every time, every year, we have to actually think about how to reduce the logistic cost. So that effectively, Vinay, has not changed over the years. In fact, what has happened is that nowadays people are asking for better and better services at lesser and lesser cost. So it just goes as Bikram was saying about Maruti, the customer expectations are changed. So if Maruti has to now entice the customer base of the new generation, then they have to think about features, correct? The old generation used to think about the CC of the vehicle, the mileage of the vehicle, the acceleration of the vehicle, but now the new generation is not thinking about that. The new generation is only thinking about featureization. What is the connectivity, what is the features they are giving? So the landscape has changed completely. So once you come into that, keep that as your guiding principle, that the customer himself is changing the landscape for you, then you cannot actually go to the customer providing a logistic service saying that I have something to offer. It doesn't come that way. So how it has to be handled is basically you go to the customer and approach in an outside-in way. So you ask the customer what he wants, and then you design your logistic solution. It is very easy to just go and offer a vanilla solution. I have an FTWZ. So DP World has FTWZ. I cannot go to a customer and say that I have an FTWZ, do you have a requirement? The customer will throw me out. But if I say that I realize that you are importing a lot of EV cells, okay? And last year, you have actually got the EV cells using air freight, and you have paid a huge amount of money for that EV cells, and that is something which you had to do because there is a change in demand and the supply from China. So can I give you an inventory management solution? Then the customer will start listening to you. If you go and say that I have an FTWZ, that doesn't click, that doesn't ring a bell. You have to go to the customer and say that, sir, you have 3 months of whatever, 1 month of transit time coming and plus 2 months order time. So you have a 3 months hold-up time. So can you actually think about holding an inventory here in India on the supplier's record into a warehouse, which is called as FTWZ? So that is when the customer starts thinking about it. So this approach, and this is a strategic shift. Post-COVID, people have actually started listening to what a logistics head or a supply chain head is talking about. Earlier, nobody used to listen to us in the board meetings. But now they are calling the logistic head or the supply chain head, please come, Mr. Jain, sit down. How can we have a competitive edge using logistics? That was the guiding principle for me in Tata when I was there. They didn't ask me, what is the KPI? They asked, can you make this department as a competitive edge for Tata Motors international business? So this is how the landscape has changed. So in DP World, what we do is basically, we have a lot of assets, but we don't go and sell the assets. What we do is that we understand the customer's requirement, we try to integrate all our assets to give a solution. Now, during the COVID time, as you are speaking, and our other panelists were also speaking, people were thinking about just in case. They were thinking about resilience. In case my supply chain crumbles, in case the supplier goofs up, then how do I actually restore it back? Okay. In that time, then people also started thinking about, as Aditya said, that I have multiple vendors across my value chain. Can I reduce it to only one vendor? So that, I have the complete visibility. That is the time, in fact, people also started investing into the digitalization. So these are 3 attributes post-COVID. But come 5 years later, do you think it is still there? Some of it is still there. But now the geopolitics has taken over. So now people are thinking about friendshoring. So we have a report called Trade in Transition Report, Vinay, which is published by DP World in collaboration with Economist Impact. So that's a report which anyone can access that report. I urge you to actually go through that report. It gives nice trends about what is happening in logistic world. So one of the things they have said, just in last 3-4 years time, things have changed post-COVID. So one of the trend, Vinay, which is happening is that people are thinking about friendshoring. I want to have a manufacturing base in a politically aligned country. So that is one of the trends. So that is known as friendshoring. So people are not just going and having a setup or a supplier. They are actually getting into friendshoring. So they are saying that I want to have a politically aligned country as a partner. So that is one of the things which is happening. The second thing which is happening is that people are thinking about parallel supply chain. So I cannot just have a single supply chain. For example, Tesla is thinking having a supply chain strategy separately for China and separately for the rest of the world. So they know that I cannot ignore China. So nobody can ignore China. Even Apple. Apple has a China strategy plus a non-China strategy. So most of the Indian OEMs, when they actually get into the global world, we are big exporter of automotive components and cars. I think this parallel supply chain will emerge as one of the trends. And the third most important trend, which the audience will also agree, is the vertical integration, wherein the companies are actually getting into a backward integration and the downward integration. What it means is that you capture the raw material at the source itself, just like Tesla is now getting into mines and all of this, and downward supply chain, wherein you also control the supply chain. For example, BYD has its own Ro-Ro vessels. So this is in three aspects which are actually emerging, and we should focus into this while designing the supply chain.
Very great insighting, like I heard like today, parallel supply chain strategy for a different country like China, non-China. Great insighting. Just off the shell, one question. If on a product like us, like Mahindra, what logistic cost should I consider in a business case per product?
No, I cannot give you an absolute number. So,
I'm just getting ballpark figure. What do you think with your Tata Motor experience and now in a DP world?
no,
If
I can
want
tell
to
you one thing.
Make product strategy and
Absolutely.
what is that you think that
Absolutely.
I should be considering? I'm just, if you have
Absolutely.
thought process.
So when I used to handle the supply chain for Tata Motors international business, mostly for exports, I should say that more than 60% of the cost was actually the freight cost, which is for exporting the vehicles out, the ocean freight. Now, ocean freight is something which we really don't have any control, Vinay. So today, if I tell you that the logistic cost should be only 5%, the rate from here to Dubai in the month of November for a 40-feet container was 1,050. Today it is 225. So if I tell you a number now, and since the ocean freight accounts for nearly 60 to 65% of the total logistic cost, it makes absolutely no sense to actually predict something. But what I can really say is that if you design a supply chain which is integrated from end to end, you take off one single point, which is the uncertainty, because you have a single vendor handling everything. So that takes care of your this thing. Plus, because of the economies of scale, single vendor can actually use a lot of their assets, integrated solution, you gain the efficiencies.
Good.
But a difficult question to answer. I know that nobody can tell you this.
So I know that I'm not going to get answer. I was sure about it. But so let's move to Vikram. This is you heard about what he was saying, and Maruti is well known for their cost structure and how they are really driving the supply chain efficiently. So how do you think this cost, you are getting control in your organization at Maruti?
So, thank you for the question. I think 3 points I would like to share here. As I mentioned in the start of the session, customer is well aware, right? So I see that's my personal opinion. In times to come, maybe 2-3 years, customers are going to start asking the OEMs, what is your sustainability index? Okay. If a customer goes to Mahindra showroom, he will ask, what is your sustainability index? I think it's a high time when we have to, we means OEMs have to, work on this and bring out their own strategies on sustainability. Because across world, this is a term, which is very much prevalent, and customers are getting aware day by day, and they want to understand, how much of the raw material OEM is using is recycled. They don't want products which are going to end up in the ocean and going to create a waste for this human life. So I think we should, of course, Maruti Suzuki has been publishing sustainability reports since 2009 voluntarily, without government asking it for it. So we are taking lot many initiatives wherein, our products are sustainable. We are extinguished various hazardous materials from our products, you know, where end of life of the vehicle, they are harmful for the environment. So I think such initiatives are very important. Of course, they add up to the cost reduction initiatives. Plus, they add up to the good cause, which is, human life. So we should be serious about these things going forward. That is number one. Number two is on the, of course, Maruti has been known for, talking of localization. Localization means, when, Jayant was talking of uh, container costs, logistics, even our VTrans guy, Mr. Aditya, he talked about logistics costs. So I think Maruti has been taking lot many initiatives in last, I would say around 15 years, because I personally had been championing the inner part localization, which means the localization of child parts of all tier 1 products in India. So in case we go in for a localization of products from end to end, from the bare minimum nut and bolt till the full assemblies in India, okay, I think we can take care of the geopolitical issues, which is like, logistics issues. Sometimes we heard about, the big polar storm in US, which has disrupted, DuPont, King Fahs. So all these big, names, they have disrupted operations for more than a month. So we also heard about Suez Canal. The ship got stuck. So a lot of many containers got stuck for so many days. So I think we keep on having geopolitical issues. But the buzzword today is local for local. So I think make components, make manufacturing where the consumer is going to consume it. So I think that is the key going forward. We should have local for local. If we are going to consume cars in India, make everything in India. I think that is the philosophy which we are working as Maruti.
Good. I think we heard that sustainability index is another great driving factor for reducing cost in a supply chain. Circularity is really important, and localization, like local for local. And like electrical vehicles are really, coming in the India in a big way. Currently, we are at 5% mark penetration of electric vehicles, moving to about 25 to 30% in 2030 plus. That's what the indication is. So this circularity will be very, very going to be important. And so I just want to, Aditya, can you tell me that if that is the case of circularity, and how do you think that the reverse logistic or cost will impact on a business? Are you prepared for that? How your company is getting ready for that? How is the overall reverse logistics, and is that have a good impact on my logistic cost?
Right. So I think, rightly said, I think wastage reduction, I think, is a joint effort that I think everybody is trying to put in. Um, as we talk about sustainability, it's not simply only about, making vehicles green or looking for alternate fuels. I think it's a combination of how we look at, wastages because of damages, as simple as that. Damage for OEM or for us is a waste. It leads to, replenishment effort. It leads to packaging being redone. So how do we focus on, as small things like part per million, damages in the entire cycle? So that's something which is very well, understood and is being focused. Apart from that, I think there are a lot of other areas which I think need to be also looked at, like using of clean energy, which powers our warehouses. Typically EV solutions could be something which could be slightly more difficult, but something like players like us can really look at that, how we can leverage upon the solar part when it comes to the warehouses. Can we ensure that the entire energy that we use is coming out of solar? That supports the sustainability goal. Reverse logistics, I think reverse logistics definitely is an area which is slightly a concern or a gray area, because I think it is basically a resultant of defects in the entire system. The objective is that reverse logistics should not be it should be eliminated to whatever extent it can be. But yes, it's not going to get into zero mode. But yeah, it's a combined effort, I would say, from both the ends.
So I got the answer. So Adit, just can you dwell upon, is that a train logistic is going to be a prime importance in India in the future? Train? How this
Rail.
train, because currently I think the utilization of the train logistic is not that great in
Correct.
India. And what is your view on looking into a train logistics?
So I think there's a huge scope. I think definitely in the long run, I think as we've read about so many in so many forums the government has spoken about, I think it will be a great boon for India if really rail logistics is leveraged to the fullest, because our roads are congested. Our roads are congested despite us building as many expressways or whatever we do. Uh, uh, Despite us being a very large player when it comes to surface transportation, we do favor that rail is something that needs to be looked at seriously, because there is a limit to which the burden can be carried on the road. Plus, I think on the longer run, although there are projects like DFCs which are being developed, but the real participation will come in where the existing players along with the railways are able to collaborate on solutions and coexist with each other. Because in isolation, neither of them will be successful. It needs to be integrated from the first mile to mid mile and then the last mile part of it. So rail is something which is critical, and I think freight moving to rail
Thanks.
must be looked at as a very serious initiative from both. The government is also supporting, not only rail, I would say rail and waterways. Both are in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be something where we don't have a choice as a country, but to invest
Yeah,
upon.
let me come in. I think Maruti has last year had a railway siding inside our facility. So I think we are working in a big way whereby we can have reliable transport system, cost-effective transport system. And I think going forward, as Aditya mentioned, I think collaboration with the railway government, government of railways. So I think it's a big way to have collaboration and move forward.
Bikram, I echo with your this that our tractors moving in most of this now the train transportation is getting used for our tractor transportation. It's a very useful thing. So Narayan, extending the Aditya's, we are talking on cost. So how we can be more sustainable in a logistic domain and reduce our carbon footprint, and how can we leverage this technology? So just
Right.
few words from you.
Yeah, I'll also pick from where Vikram also mentioned about sustainability. You also mentioned. So, we work with our customers to and their ESG teams and their sustainability teams to align with their sustainability goals. So, to the extent that we can facilitate that at the industrial park level, we do that. And one of the big components there is how do we reduce the carbon footprint, which is essentially through on-site rooftop solar. What we have seen is for our customers, depending on their intensity of load, we have, that's the real data, we have between 25 to 30% to 70% we have replaced their power requirement through green power. In fact, in one case, which is here in Pune itself, it's in certain months they're actually getting 100% power through solar power. So that's something that we invest, we provide to our customers, as opposed to letting them, or they rather having to bother to do it with third-party solar developers. Fortunately, we have huge amount of roof space available, being large park owner. So that's something which we are able to provide. Even in certain cases where we've got long-term tenants, we try to offer them solution of off-site solar as well. Certain states actually facilitate that, so that the percentage of green power in your total energy consumption, that only increases. And some of you are also committed to RE 100 goals, which has been set up by a lot of people. So that's how we provide as far as sustainability aspects are concerned.
Great insight, Narayan. So, moving from cost to how the collaborate.
So, sorry to interrupt, but being from an industry which is primarily responsible for contributing to the vehicle emissions and fuel consumption directly, I think we have a bigger responsibility in terms of sustainability. And so, yeah, we have, as our principals will also acknowledge, we have collaborated and we have developed certain solutions which are primarily a shift from carbon-based tires to silica-based tires, which a higher ratio of silica. And it helps really in terms of reducing the emissions, and vehicles would give better mileage. But that is one part of it. When we are putting approx 10 million tires per year into the market, and then the emissions, if it is reduced, it yes definitely contributes to the larger cost. But at the same time, now we are challenged with another regulation, which is Extended Producer's Responsibility, EPR. Yeah, which is very crucial, and still we feel that the ecosystem to handle this kind of bigger responsibility needs to be developed. And I think that is a challenge for the overall industry as such.
Okay, good, Vivek. But that's a great. And what I come to know that for electric vehicles, there is a need of a different kind of tractors, because as we are moving to electrical, there is no noise, and the tire noise has to. So is that
Yes.
what you are looking? I mean, you're
Yeah.
developing, or
Yes.
you're already
There is developments happening across for electric vehicles as well, because once the vehicle noise is zero, then probably the tire noise is the next level of
That's where
sound
we
which
are
will
struggling
come.
with.
Yes. So there is a technology, interestingly a sponge technology, which is putting up sponge inside a tire to control the vibrations and sounds. Yeah, that is still in development phase.
When we'll get it? Okay.
So
move to-
mostly not very far off.
Yeah. So now, Kuldeep, and this is basically what I'm saying, the automotive supply chain is really a complex one. So how, you, me, from basically from auto industry, and how we leverage collaboration between OEMs and suppliers and using this technology to address this complex nature of supply chain in auto business. So maybe Kuldeep, Bikram, you can take a call on that. Because you are daily and facing these challenges, and how we are overcoming this. And then
So-
we need to have some time for a question answer.
Right.
So my
So,
request is that
I'll be very
how can
fast.
we brief?
So,
Anybody can take up this question.
I'll tell you, I'll be very fast, and the first thing is the collaboration with suppliers. So one thing we implemented with Kinetic Green is we have removed one word called vendor. So when I listen vendor, to me personally it looks like if someone is selling tea at a platform. So we call it partner. So we call it SCP, supply chain partner. So once someone heard, for example, we say dealer partner very frequently instead of saying trader, right? So we never use a word called vendor. So we always use a supply chain partner. So SCP is a very common word now in couple of organizations. So the collaboration is increasing from the concept phase. And once we are moving towards EV era, the collaboration will be very high, because if you see the typical ICE vehicle, the engine and all the other parts are serviced by the OEM. Whereas if you see the EV, the battery pack manufacturer, charger, motor, controller, all these people are servicing whatever is required in the field. So EV OEMs are having service level agreements other than the normal general purchase agreements. So collaboration is increasing, one. Second, there will be a norm soon, once we have a good number of EV vehicles on the road, that the supplier has to take all these EV waste after the first life back and recycle it, or has to sell it for the second life. So this will come very soon. We have already started this, that all battery packs has to be procured back and has to be sold to solar. And the way we call it, how to improve the collaboration is, I call it 3T: trust, transparency, and timeline. So engage supplier at right time with good transparency and a mutual trust that they are going to survive with you for decades.
Very good.
Just,
Thank you so much.
I would like to add 2 points to this question. So first is collaborate best with the best. So I think this is the time, where if you are best, so you have to find a best collaborator or best partner in the world for you. So with whose support, you can have 2x or 3x in your business. So that is the key to sustain in these times. Second, what we also do in Maruti Suzuki is, early supplier involvement. So which we normally call EVI. Of course, I will use the vendor word here, but it's early supplier involvement. Means, you make partnerships. You make partnership in the design stage itself. Don't wait. You will, give your designs, you will invite the quotes, and then you will select one of them. I think it is better to collaborate in advance and do all the trials, and you successfully launch a product in the market which is going to sustain. So I think that is the key, again, the second key, which is going to go great in today's time going forward. Thanks.
Right, Vikram. So I remember one of the example I will tell you that when we were developing one of our commercial vehicle, we brought even logistic partner on the board to understand whether that container will have a space to accommodate my 6 numbers of vehicle. And he has given me a solution that why don't you reduce here or something like that, which I can transfer instead of 4 to 6. So it's very, very useful to collaborate with such a kind of a partner like what we have with us, Aditya, Nara, and Jain. So thank you so much. And just quick question, and I can tell any panelist can take a couple of questions. You have seen that we are talking on innovation, and we'll be talking about digital transformation and AI-driven technologies and all. Do you think that are we really giving enough focus on building our capability, competency in the organization? And if it's what you are doing. So the open question to all, the question is how you are building your capability and competency in the organization to remain futuristic. Anybody? I mean, open to all.
So thank you. I'll take this. So first of all, whenever we are speaking for innovation or digitalization and the associated words, the first thing which comes up is whether it is outside imposed or inside developed. So for a key thing for a sustainable innovation to take place, probably is the inside out. As more of the members in the function, they participate in a digital ecosystem development, then data-driven decision makings, autonomous decision makings, and then slowly it emerges to a next level of decision making, and it usually unlocks a lot of value to the organization.
Okay, so good, thanks. And I think can I get some more answer to this question from the audience here? As
maybe I would just like to add.
Okay, so go ahead. Good.
Sorry, before you go to the audience. So, of course, we are not in the core supply chain, but we are supply chain infrastructure provider. What we also see is, and this is a typical requirement of the occupiers. So, in collaboration with CII Institute of Logistics, we are trying to see that if we had some of the park or one of the park, we can try and set up a skills development center, right, where the users, can have their employees, or even the local community also can be upgraded in terms of skills in these newer areas, right? Not just the traditional areas of those working within the warehouses, but also when it comes to automation, those kind of learnings also, that's something, so that, skill development can actually take place.
Great news, Narayan. So, as Vikram's research said me that the best OEM should get to a best partner, and I would say that these are the best panelists as the best audience. So, I want some answer that how do you think that we can build this competency and capability in a, for a futuristic supply chain, resilient supply chain in your organization? A couple of few people can just, if there is a mic, Shankar, can you provide a mic from them here, and then open a session for any question answer after somebody can think in your organization if you are doing something which is for developing competency and capability, because that's a unanswered question, because we know the technology is coming up, and how we are building this competency in your organization. Good to know that. You can tell your name and company, and then your name, which company you are representing, and your maybe what you want to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. My name is Mayur Karya. I'm Vice President from Given Logistics. We are a freight forwarding company. So just to give you a very specific answer in a very short line, we have developed one digital course on a digital platform which can be provided online and offline to all the new aspirants, those who are planning to develop the careers in freight forwarding, supply chain verticals, including warehousing, inventory management, and demand supply planning using the digital tools. We have started that, and we are right now using this to provide to a specific batches, connecting with the industry's leaders, taking their insights and improving it and evolving it month by month, day by day. So very soon we'll be coming to the right audience, right platform, and sharing those complete details with all of you, and we'll look forward for your supports to make it a great success. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Anybody want to add to what he has said from the audience? Okay. So open for questions for any panelist or to me. Anybody has any question?
Can I ask one question, please?
Can I get this mic there? Excuse me. No. Somebody. There are many people. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, please. Somebody.
This question is for Bikram and Kuldeep, and one thing we were trying to understand. Since Jayant is from ex-Tata Motors, I'm also ex-Tata. So a few years back, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, a very senior leader of Tata Sons, has started taking a new initiative, measuring how the automotive industries or old Tata group of companies are measuring their innovation. They call it an Innometer. I think you can Google it and you will find that somewhere. How this automobile company today, specifically Kinetic, Maruti, are measuring their innovations year by year, month by month, that, and how you are capitalizing it. If you can highlight that, that will be a great learning for us. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the question. I think one of the important way, by which we can measure innovations is, of course, through patents. So I think every company here, all people are sitting here, or delegates are sitting here. I think the number of patents being filed in a year is something which is very clearly dictates, how much your organization is innovating, right? So I think that is a clear way. Second way is, of course, the employees have, they go in for publishing of papers. So they go in for articles and they go in for their own paper release. So I think that's again a big way of measuring the innovation in the company in various products. Even to the extent of processes, people are now going in for patents for processes, and also the latest thing what is happening is the way you are organizing a analysis or developing a framework for any survey or any analysis which is specific to your core area. I think there also you can go in for a copyright or a patent.
Thank you.
So I think that's
Thank you, Vikram.
So I'll only add one more thing. So for most of the processes, we measure time.
Okay.
So because the servicing time or the production time or the response time, so different fields are having time-bound targets to them. So we say we should reduce our internal targets generally 30% everywhere.
Thanks, Kuldeep. I like your 3T approach. It was excellent example. Thank you.
One more thing I was just saying, we talk about product and process. I have seen this lot of innovation happening in the front end. Many a time people say that the processes of how to win customer and how to win-loss ratio get improved. Now, these are the measures, how your footprints of the customers coming to your dealers, to you, has improved over the period of time, and they measure it. So there's innovation definitely happening in product and processes in manufacturing. I would seen this also getting into extended to the front end.
Thank you, sir.
So these are some of the examples.
Thank you.
Somebody can give them a mic.
My name is Gharpure. I am consultant, not for auto sector, but I was doing a survey for another sector. And I found the figure of logistic cost being 14% as against 8% abroad. So, is it the same situation as far as the auto sector is concerned? And if so, it should be a matter of concern as to how it should be reduced.
So I can take that. So it is true that in India the logistic cost is 14%. We should hit around 8%, which is what is the global benchmark. So to tell you the truth, India relies mostly on the road transportation, which is the most inefficient way of transportation. So as of now, data suggests that in India, the road transportation cost per ton per kilometer is hovering around $1.03. And in US, it is 50% of that. So you can imagine how much road we have to actually cross to come to that level. And think about it, India, 60% of the transportation actually happens by road. So we have seen that the greatest inefficiency in the highest share of logistic movement is in road. Now, is it possible to do something on that? So the government of India is certainly promoting alternate ways of movement like waterways, coastal, rail, and all of these. So we need to really get into an innovative mindset to reduce the logistic cost. Because if you leave it to the individual stakeholders to think about a solution individually, then probably we will take a lot of time to actually hit the figure. But if collectively we think about it, then it is going to really make a difference. So case in point, for example, is to allay the carbon emission due to the road, can we think about the multimodal transportation? So can we think about actually moving instead of a truck going from south to north, 20, 50, 100 trucks for a particular OEM, can we actually design something using the coastal vessels and the train, and only the first mile and the last mile, which is 20, 30 kilometer, can be by road. So when we did this trial and we pitched to a particular OEM, we realized that the CO2 emission reduced by 53%. And your question about the cost, eventually the point-to-point cost was high, but on the per unit cost basis, about the number of tires loaded into the container, the cost actually came down. So the global data suggests that with multimodal movement in Western countries, the cost effectiveness or the reduction in cost is to the tune of 30%. And the reduction in emission is to the tune of 50%. So all the data actually suggests that most of the OEMs should now sit down, get their logistic service provider on board, think about an alternate way of movement. Initially, you might feel that the cost is high, but actually when you increase the packaging efficiency into the container, the per unit cost comes down.
Good suggestion. I think why you waiting to OEM to call you? Why don't you propose?
We are in fact developed and given this solution. So on the rail side also, supposing we have a rail network.
That's a very interesting data you have thrown us on. And see, the thing is, we are not expert as OEM.
Correct.
You are the expert. We do as an expert partner. If you come out with the solutions and a paper, white paper, then why not we people go for it?
We are in fact doing that. So one of the innovative solution is also about thinking about reducing the empty runs or the partial runs of the rail.
That was a reverse logistic.
Yeah, reverse
I was
logistics
talking
and
to
all that.
Aditya and rail. So these are some of the thoughts we already discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to add to that
just my
answer to that point, we know that the last mile logistics also is a huge component of the cost. It's also because of lack of last mile infrastructure. What we call as an urban logistics, which you don't have so much of them, but increasingly that's now coming in, and you will see a whole lot of urban logistics. I'm not talking just in the context of automobile, but generally logistic cost also. That's going to come in a big way. That's started. We are also one of the participants there, big participant. That will also help, companies, logistic companies, to actually, in terms of automotive, maybe spare parts storage, in terms of other sectors, their last mile deliveries. All those logistics costs will reduce because of this also.
You were saying that, the last
Beyond
mile
multimodal.
mobility. That's exactly Narayan and Jayant. These are a complementary business to each other.
Yeah. Vinay,
Kishore.
Jayant, for you said that 14% is the logistic cost. For me, it appears to be on the very high side because I would like to understand more. Is it only inbound logistic cost plus outbound logistic cost plus stores cost in-house? Still 14% appears to be very high, just from my data point of view from this thing. First of all, my name is Kishore Sankhe. I am heading the sector supply chain for auto. Okay. And so my data point shows the number is quite on the lower side. So I would like to have more insight of the 14%, how it has been constituted. Inbound logistic cost plus outbound, plus what extra in that, so that...
No, so we are talking about the transportation cost. So the transportation from one point in India to another point. So a truck moving from one point in India to other point, what is the total cost? And how much is the truck allowed to carry as per the weight? So eventually what happens is that from point A to point B, you might incur, say, for example, 50,000 rupees. But when you design a multimodal solution, you might maybe incur 90,000 rupees. But effectively, the OEM will understand that when you are actually taking the cargo in a 40-foot container, which has a higher packing efficiency, the innovation will seep into 2-3 fronts. First is hello, yeah. Which are the modes of transportation you should do depending on the address for the origin and the destination? How much is the packaging has to improve to cut to less than that 50,000 which the OEM has spent on a per unit basis. So the innovation comes not only into seeing whether you can give an alternate solution, but also into seeing how we can actually optimally pack the stuff so that the per unit cost or the per tire cost or the per kg cost actually reduces. So not all the multimodal solutions will be suitable for an OEM. So that is where I'm coming from.
Okay, so looking at the time, and we don't want to come in between you and the lunch. We can take a last question. And then if you have any question during the lunch, why don't you network with the panelists? They are all available. So can I take a last question because the CI is putting me...
Yeah, so thanks for the great insight. My question is to link with the previous session and this session. So last time they shared that 4.6 trillion economy and 20% India has to target, which is 1 trillion export. So we have not touched upon export perspective. So whether we think that for export logistic, our logistic is efficient from leg 1, leg 2, leg 3 cost. Secondly, how can we bring efficiency or I say agility and responsiveness within supply chain and from the supplier partner point of view and from the logistic point of view, so that because the total lead time from our country to foreign countries is somewhere around 8 to 10, 12 weeks, which makes demand and supply very complex. So how we can address these issues to make us more competitive and achieve our 1 trillion target?
I can take that question. So, so India is already an export market now. So if you see, most of the car manufacturers have now, who have the production bases in India, they are launching the model in India for export. So the finished vehicle logistics for export is going to take precedence now, and India is far behind as far as the the finished good logistics is concerned. In India, domestic transportation normally happens by the car carrier. In overseas, most of the big OEMs are also using ro-ro vessels as well as the container movement. So when I say container movement, basically the cars go into the container, they are packed into the container. It's known as the cars in container solution. So many OEMs have done that. We used to do it in Tata also, when we used to stuff Tata Ace into the container and then take it. Obviously, it depends on cost. However, these modes of transportation also have their inherent limitations on the cost. Today, the ro-ro capacity ex-India is very less. Because what has happened, that during the time of COVID, many of the liners, they reduced the sailings to India. Now, post-COVID, when the surge has happened, they were not able to get the vessels to India. So the ro-ro capacity in India is very starved. So OEMs have to necessarily get into container. Now, not every vehicle can get into container. Now, Tesla, we handle Tesla, US to Dubai movement, DP World. A huge amount of Teslas coming into container. Tesla has been using container movement. But we in India want to package more into the, so the problem statement which I receive from many OEMs is that, Jayant, I am doing 5 vehicles into the container, can I get 6 vehicles into the container? So the packaging efficiency innovation has to happen. Secondly, can I actually use returnable racking system, which is very sturdy? So if I have to ship something to Chile from here, I use a racking system because it is subject to lots of roll and shaking inside the container. So the cars might get damaged. So unless until you have a proper raking system inside the car, it is very difficult to send it across. But then this raking system which you install inside the container has to come back, which is a costly affair. So mostly people are not open to using this sturdy solution for exports because the reverse logistic cost kills the original cost.
I think we will have a transformation in a logistic in a big way. So we are going because there is a
only short question because this is on the other side of the innovation question, so that's why I'm taking.
Are we okay or what is that? Because they are just pushing me hard. Because it depends on other session is getting delayed.
Okay, I will not get an answer, but I will just throw the questions because we are working on innovation, digitalization. But the other effect of this innovation, digitalization, like cyber security, how we will address, and maybe high demand, high cost, and maybe due to the innovation, the workforce will be reduced. So these points, how we will take care. So maybe in next session we will discuss on this point. Maybe.
There is a different of opinion, is a workforce reduced or not. So that's a lot of debate going on. So we don't want to land into that debate.
Thank you.
Anyway, so thank you very much. And we have seen the 175 years of experience panelist has given their best to answer the supply chain complex issue. Thanks for audience for patient listening to us and all the panelists. And the last but not least, thanks to the CII people who have provided us this platform and given this opportunity to come here and talk to you. So big round of applause to the CII team here. And thank you very much. See you soon. Thanks and enjoy your lunch.